Welcome to week number 6, the final week. This is the cherry on top. This is what concludes the last 6 weeks altogether. So we're going to be working on this, and we're going to be applying a border that goes around it to bring it all into symmetrics. It's going to be awesome, it's going to be wonderful, and it's going to be giveable by the end of today's clue. So without further ado, let's head on into the studio and let's show you how to do the final border so that you can able to gift it for someone or keep it for yourself. So let's begin week number 6. So at this point now you have all your triangles filled in, and now we're just going to do a simplistic border just like you see. It is double crochet for most of it, but there is some back loops to be done in order to give it the final look for this project. So let's go on to page number 2. Let's look at the diagram and let's get this thing finished. So here's a copy of the diagram, and everything in gray has already been done, and now we're going to move up to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So what we have here is that you see the instructions that you see here for everything that appears on this graph. Now for the border you only really have to worry about the double crochets, and you're going to see half moon shapes, and if you look at it, it's working the back loop only. So that particular round is going to be doing that. So you just got to look at the color breakdown in order to get this to go. So we're going to be using vintage white, which is the same as these colors, and it says to evenly space a certain amount of stitches going all the way across. It's 95 around in there. Now because it's evenly spaced and because the corners are so simplistic, if you had 96 or 94 or 90, it really will work out for you because it's not done based on a multiple of anything happening here in the center. So what you're going to do is just start off in the corner, and you're going to make sure that the first round has 3 single crochets in a corner, and then you're just going to equally space your single crochets attaching it. I'm going to show you a trick that when you're going to attach, never try to go around a post, just try to go into like a chain work of a post, and then that will not make the stitches open up so drastically for you. So without further ado, let's go on to round number 1 and let's get yourself started. So let's begin round number 1. We're going to start off right in the corner, and let's just create a slip knot to begin. We're going to insert the hook onto it. And so you're going to notice because you're working on the side of the rows, that's why you're equally spacing all the way and the other way as well. So you're just going to go right into a corner, just choose something, and because you're using white, the same color is really quite forgiving, so you're just going to attach with a slip stitch, chain 1, and you're going to put 3 single crochets into the same spot that you just joined that with, and that will be your turning. So anytime you have a corner in this round, it'll always be 3 single crochets. Now because I have it's just kind of sticking on me here. There we go, and so we're gonna put 3 in there. So we're just gonna move along the edge. So you're just gonna kind of look at it and just equally space the distance. Now if you go right around a whole post like this, it will open it up. I know you can't really see it that well, but it will open up. So if you go right into an actual chain work itself, so it takes a little bit of extra time just in the first round to do that. If you go around a chain work instead, it'll keep it from opening up and keep it nice and solid, and you're just gonna equally space your single crochets out as you're working your way across. So what I want you to do is equally space out. It says to do 95 stitches across. If it's anything more or less, just make sure that when you're going across that it looks like it's balanced. So if it's starting to look really wavy on you, that means that you're putting in too many stitches, and if it's starting to curl up like this, it means that there's too few of stitches and you need to add in a little bit more to keep it to settle down. So I want you to equally space your single crochets across, and then in the next corner make sure you put your 3 single crochets. Now do you see that there's a big gap here? So what I want to do is just back that out. I'm looking for that kind of stuff, and it's nice to show this kind of thing on camera with you so that you don't end up with stuff that looks like that. So you just want to keep very consistent. So please do that all the way around, and I'll see you here in just a moment. So this is round number 1. So when you get all the way back around to the very beginning, then you're just going to then just stop, and you're just gonna slip stitch to the top of the first single crochet. Again, I just equally spaced it out as they went. So just slip stitch. So we're now going to fasten this off, and I want you to bring back the gray, and then we're gonna start right in that corner. So let's start the next one. We're going to create a slip knot using gray, and in the third one, so sorry, the middle of the 3, you just gotta look for it, it's right there. You're just going to insert your hook in and attach. So this round is all about double crochets. So you're just gonna chain up a total of 3, which counts as one of the double crochets, and you're going to put 5 double crochet into that same one that you did the join with, and that will allow it to turn the corner. So what you're going to do for this round is that every single crochet that you applied, you're just gonna put a double crochet into the neck, into the stitch, and then when you get to the next corner, it's the middle one of the grouping of 3 that also gets 5 double crochets. So just continue to double crochet yourself all the way around for round number 2 of doing the border. So I'm coming up all the way around using my gray, and we're going to continue gray for another round. Now the next round we're only gonna use the back loops of the stitches. Now if you're new to crochet, don't panic. Back loops are just where you're sticking the hook. It's not anything major. There's no somersaults involved in order to do so. So as I make my way back around, I'm going to go into my very last stitch and then attach with a slip stitch to the top of the first chain 3 that we had started with, and that's coming up in just a few seconds here. Okay, so I got what do we got? Remember that there was 3 single crochets here, and what we're going to do is just go into the first single crochet that we didn't go into the first time, and then just finish that off. So just attach to the first chain 3, or the first chain 3. So now let's continue our next round. So what we want to do is just chain up 3. So 1, 2, 3. If you're new to crochet, there's always 2 strands, and that makes up a stitch. So let me just grab a pencil here. So what you have is that you have 2 strands and they make up 1 stitch. Now if you go into the first strand like this, this is a front loop, and if you go into the second one like that, then it's the back loop. So what we want to do is in the entire project now going forward is that we are going to go in the back loops. So you're gonna go in the back loop of the next stitch. So just jump into the back, and once you start seeing it, it'll open up for you. It's pretty easy. So the next one after that is the middle one of the grouping of 5. So in the that's the corner. So continue the corners just how you know, in the back loops only, just 5 double crochet. I think there's 4 in there, so this is 5. So just continuing then across your blanket until you get to the middle one of the group of 5 on the other side, and just stay in the back loops and just double crochet yourself all the way around, and I'll see you at the end of this round. So I'm now coming all the way back to the end, and I'm just going into the very last stitch here, and you can see that this is part of this one here, so then that belongs. So you're just going to just slip stitch it and then be done with this gray. So we have 2 more rounds to do. We're going to bring back our plum color, and we're gonna be getting started, and let's begin to do that next. So let's begin our final color, and this is the second last round, and then your stitch along is complete. We're just gonna slip this onto the hook. So right when I look at this here, I want to start off in the very beginning. 1. Okay, so we fastened off here. So this is the very first one here that we're going to start with, and that's where we're going to fasten on. So what we need to pay attention to is the corners, and I'll get there in a second. So let's fasten on with the slip stitch, chain 1, and let's just do a single crochet in that same one just to get that nice. Put the straggler down on top. So now each stitch is going to get 1 single crochet each, except for the middle one of the grouping of 5. So right in the middle, so this is the one in the middle. So you're gonna put in 3 single crochets every time you hit a corner, and it's the middle one of the group of 5. So I want you to continue all the way around then, single crocheting into each except for the corners, put in 3 there, and then just carry on, and we'll see you at the end of this round and starting into the next round, your final round, to get your stitch along done for this here. So I'm coming up to the very end of this round, and then we have 1 more round to go. Are you excited? You only got 1 more round, and for those that have been following us throughout the weeks, you are almost done. So we're gonna do our last round as a reverse single crochet. It's also referred to as a crab stitch in order to go back in the other direction. So this one here is part of this one, so don't confuse that. So just slip stitch to the top of the first single crochet. Okay, to do the reverse single crochet, you're just gonna chain 1 and go into the same one that you have and just single crochet as normal. But instead of advancing forward, you're gonna advance to backward. So you're gonna go to the stitch before you, and you're just gonna sneak in there and just yarning over and pulling it through and pull through 2. Takes a bit of getting used to do the reverse single crochet, but once you get onto it, it's easy. So again, go to the one before, just scoop up underneath and follow it through with the single. It's a single crochet. It's just a matter of just going backwards. So what this is doing is it's creating a thicker edging than normal by doing that, because it's causing the yarn to wrap around, and it almost looks like rope when you're done. See how it kind of looks like that? So you're going to go every stitch. So even in the corners, it doesn't matter. Every stitch is going to get a reverse single crochet, so you don't have to compensate for any corner work at all. Just one reverse single crochet in each of the stitches going all the way around. So please do that, and then we'll fasten this off together, and then that's it. Your stitch along is then complete. So I'm just coming up to the end of this round. I'm coming around the final corner. Remember that there was only one reverse single crochet in each, so there's nothing special you had to do with the corners, so it just follows it around. And we're gonna come into the very last stitch right now. So how you fasten off is really quite critical. So I'm here at the last stitch, so I'm just gonna leave an extra long tail, and if you do it right, it'll look almost seamless. So just pull it all the way through, and then just grab your darning needle, and what you want to do is you want to glide it under to where you had started. Okay, so just go right underneath to where you started, and I want you to pull it to the back side, so it's going out the back, and when you pull it, I want you to make it look like it looks like it belongs. So let's see, pull it down, see? It's almost like you can't even tell it's there. So then just come to the back side and just glide through. So this is the second of a pass. Remember, I always say to go back and forth 3 times. So when you go back in the other direction, make sure that you don't warp it in any way. So just kind of fluff it out, and then go back finally in the 3rd direction. Stay toward the back side as well. So I want you to get rid of any loose tails that you have, and this is it for the particular stitch along. And this has actually been quite amazing and actually really kind of fun at the same time, and I have a beautiful project to show for that. Hey everybody, look what I did! Woo! Isn't this awesome? This is your stitch along, and I'm so proud of this. I got the perfect place in my house for this. Enjoy your stitch along, and we'll see you again next time. So that's it, my friends. This is the very end, and you can now give your afghan away. You can keep it for yourself or put it away for a rainy day. So this has really been a lot of fun, and of course we've been doing stitch alongs for Joann for a few years now. We may have something next year, but you'll have to stay tuned again in the future. Remember, any projects that you want to do and Joann's involved, please use the hashtag of Handmade with Joann, and you're welcome if it's one of ours to use the Crochet Crowd as well for your hashtags. So we'll see you again real soon, and we hope that you've enjoyed this stitch along with us.